Hello and welcome, listeners. My name is Beatrice, and we're very, very pleased to be here with Bianca and my beautiful colleague, Dr. Sumit
Hello
Sharma.
everyone, it's Dr. Sumit Sharma here, and we are here again, and thanks to Bianca for inviting us again, and looking forward to the chat.
Yeah, let's get into it. Thanks for tuning in this evening. We've got Dr. Sharma and Beatrice in the studio. Welcome both.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, good to have you here on this, what do we call it, cool, cosy evening, is it?
A little chilly.
Yeah, but I thought we were going to get more rain, but we didn't. Anyway, aside from that, how are you both?
Yeah, I'm doing well. As you said earlier, that being busy, and busy is a good sign. So it's good busy.
Yeah, good busy. Good busy with balance.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we were just saying that before. You know, we often hear people saying busy, 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 and I haven't got time for this, and I haven't got time for that, and I haven't got time for a massage, or I haven't got time to walk and relax and deep breathe, but we have to make time.
Absolutely, and I think, we all have the same amount of time. It's actually taking the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's the priorities. And we do get a little bit caught up with all the doingness.
Yeah.
And there's a good little saying that say, we are human beings, not human doings.
Yeah.
So being in
exactly.
the present, and makes such a difference to the way that you live your life. And you don't miss it. You know, there's that sort of timeline, I guess, where there's the present, there's the past, and there's the future. And where are you in your day? And if you catch yourself out often enough, you'll find yourself in the past, retelling yourself those stories of the could'ves and the should'ves. And if we dwell in that space for a long period of time, it can lead to quite a bit of heaviness in the mind and the body, and ultimately depression. And then on the other flip side, constantly in the future of what might be, and there's again that story that we tell ourselves of what about if this happens, and I have to do this, and you're constantly in this forward period of time, which actually doesn't exist. None of that exists.
That's true.
The only thing that exists is this present moment. And if you can bring yourself into that space of being, then ultimately you have all the knowledge and the information that you need in each moment.
That's right.
And it's much happier and much more fun space to actually exist.
That's
and to
true.
live. Yeah. You
That's
don't
true.
miss your life. We keep missing it.
And maybe we lose track of time. Is that right? Isn't that what we said before?
Absolutely.
How long's it been for this or that since I saw you? I couldn't remember, but I thought that was a good thing that I don't remember. Was it exactly last week? Was it 2 weeks? Because we're always on schedule. We're always so highly wired humans that sometimes it's good to just be a bit chilled. Oh, like, what day is it? Oh, yeah, it's Thursday.
Yes.
But not absent-minded, but just more relaxed.
Yeah, like you're saying it, I think we need to look towards another aspect, that we are not programmed individuals. We are not machines, We try to do everything on a schedule, which is a good thing. It's good to keep up with your schedule. But that schedule should not start taking a toll on your health, both physical and mental aspects. And that's what we're going to discuss today, the effects and the use of yoga, or how we can take yoga as a tool to enhance or protect and preserve our mental health, especially in this era where isolation and social distancing, all these things does matter.
Right. Okay, so let's start with yoga. Maybe a little bit of a very brief history of yoga. I mean, we generally know what it's about, but if you could just start for the listeners who've never done it, what yoga is.
See, yoga, it's I think everybody must have heard the name nowadays, and it's here from time immemorial. And when we say what is yoga, yoga is about finding yourself. Like Beatrice said earlier, we are human beings. So what you want to become, yoga is about unbecoming. So we become so many things in our life, you know. We were students, then we become professionals, then we become father, mother, sister, brother, friends, employees, employer, all those sort of titles. We attach ourselves to those titles. So it's just a game of becoming, becoming, and becoming. So yoga it's actually to unwind yourself and start unbecoming and bringing your own back to its existential self. I know it might sound a bit heavy to say these things, the existential self and this and that, but many a times we have heard the people saying that, oh, I feel like lost. You are here with you, then why are you feeling lost? Some people feel lonely, you know, and as Sadhguru says, that if you are alone and you feel lonely, that means you are in a bad company. That means you are bad for your own self. You are not
Okay.
enjoying your own company.
Right.
Okay?
Mm.
So it's a thought to ponder upon, I will say. And that's what yoga is all about. Yoga is about knowing yourself, aligning yourself to the universal alignment, and stay in sync with the universal sync, so that everything that you do is in accordance with the universal sync, and then everything will be the right thing.
So what does that mean exactly, universal sync? Is that like a spiritual element to yoga? You know, connecting with nature, connecting with self, connecting with whatever people believe in spiritually or religion or whatever. It's a whole lot of things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's whole lot of things as you said, but to start with, let's start from the very beginning, our own existence, our own aspects of existence. You know, we see ourselves as a physical entity, as we discussed in our previous discussions and talks also, that we are not only a physical entity, but we have a mental component, we have a spiritual component, and that what makes us a complete human being. So when we're talking about the completeness, we usually put a lot of effort on our physical self, but pretty less effort when we compare, you know, on the mental, spiritual aspects of the well-being. So that's why we need to discuss and we need to share this with our listeners to empower them that yoga is another tool that you should have with you all the time, that whenever you need it, you can use it. And the beauty of yoga is you don't need any of the expensive equipment. You just need you and some time. And that's where people struggle nowadays. They say, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. I want to do this. I want to do that. But I don't have time for this. And as Beatrice said earlier, it's 24 hours a day. And nobody get a special treatment or a special discount on those 24 hours. Everybody has the same time. Okay? So it's up to us how we plan, how we manage, how we execute things so that we can make some time for ourselves, to know ourselves better, to take care of ourselves better, and so that we can maintain the balance between physical health, mental health, spiritual health, all those things.
So with yoga, is there an element of what we put in our body? You know, we need fuel, food and water and juices. So what's the physical element of like how we feed and take care of our body in that way, you know, with yoga? That's all embodied in one too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, eat right.
Yeah.
What is eat right? That's $1 million question. I mean, you both know that's what you sort of do with your clinic too.
Yes, absolutely. And I think even going back from the actual type of food that we eat, I mean, that's another whole discussion in itself. I think the connection with our food is really, really important. Where we source the food from. I mean, so many people are very disconnected from their food now, that they really don't listen to their actual physical needs, their physical body as to what is going to serve them. And so we're becoming very disconnected when food is arriving in packages and we pop it in the microwave, or you just go past and pick up your takeaway. There's no actual connection in actually the sourcing of the food, the cutting up, the chopping up, and then creating the meal, and then actually the awareness in eating as well. You know, there's an age-long tradition of prayer before you eat. So much of that is lost. You know, we just sort of plonk things on the plate and then on watching a screen, or that there's no actual connection with what is this mindless eating. So part of the yoga practice is actually connection with everything that is around us and within us, and food is really a big part of that as well, because we spoke about it last time, that the food actually physically becomes us. So if we're not connected with it, it's not going to serve us well, and then we get surprised why we get unwell.
Exactly.
And as Vijay said, that we are what we eat. Yes, and if we are not eating anything or any type of food with the connection or with that respect or with that presence with the food, yes, it will give us some of the physical benefits. It will give us some sort of very basic form of energy, but it's not only the energy that we require. Nutrition is something beyond energy. You know? Energy is what we use to conduct and execute our daily activities. Yes, we can say it in terms of calories or whatever you like to say it, but there is something more than that. Let's take an example. When you eat your favorite food, yes, you fill your tummy with it, but you fill your heart, soul, and mind with that as well when you get that satisfaction. Yes?
Exactly.
Yes, you feel like, oh, this is the day, oh, this is the food, oh, yum, oh, I am so satisfied. It comes out of you naturally. Yes?
Of course.
And many times, this is what yoga always try to remind us, that, you know, we should stay mindful with single L, not mindful with double L. Most of the time we are eating when we are full in our mind. Yeah, people looking at the phones, watching a serious program on the TV or Netflix or anything like that. So it's a clear disconnection. Yes,
Correct.
so these smaller things is what yoga try to put emphasis on, so that we should start seeing the smaller aspects of our existence, and we start respecting those aspects, so that you can get benefit from each and every aspect of what you do.
Yeah, so it's at a cellular level, isn't it? At a level that we might not be able to stand entirely, but like you said, when we enjoy something and we get that buzz, like that's what I wanted, that's what I was craving, and that's what I gave myself. Like there's so much denial out there too, like, you know, people saying I shouldn't have that cheese, it's fattening, or I shouldn't have this, or I shouldn't have that. Well, there's nothing wrong with it in moderation. If that's what the body's calling for,
Absolutely.
we have to listen and make ourselves feel, well, we're going to enjoy the cheese.
Absolutely,
Make
and you
ourselves feel
said
good.
the right word, moderation. And everybody is different, and definition of moderation or balance will be different for everybody. So that's why yoga is a self-practice. It's a subjective aspect of science, you know. So you have to do it to know it.
Yeah.
So if you do it, you understand yourself more and more. You understand your tendencies. Once you understand your tendencies, you try to work on them. You try to polish your good ones, and you try not to disturb much of not so good tendencies. Yeah? And this is the definition of yoga. That yoga is to curb the turbulence of mind. So when you can do that control, actually control is not a very appropriate word to say in terms of yoga, but I will say recognition is more important word here. We need to recognize that what's going on. We usually don't know. I'm watching Netflix, or I'm busy in my office work, then I am just doing something, I'm doing laundry, then I have to prepare for my tomorrow, So all those things we are so much engrossed in, so we don't actually live in the present. So when we don't live in the present, that means we are disconnected with ourselves. So whatever food you eat or whatever activity you do, you are not actually enjoying that to the fullest. that's where the first fault lies. And it's a simple thing, and we can rectify this fault by just acknowledging what's around us, what you are doing. And recent last 2 3 years with this COVID and people going into isolation, social distancing, it has given a very big time for self-reflection.
Mm.
And that's where actually many of the mental health issues also come up with. So isolation, it's actually a scary word for many of the people. Isolation and loneliness, they go hand by hand. Yeah. So if somebody is in isolation due to any medical reason or any genuine reason, that means you got this time to be with yourself, and you can use this time to know yourself better. Do some things so that you can enhance the level of consciousness within you, so that you start seeing things in a different manner, or rather, not in a different manner, but in a clear manner, I'll say. Yeah. So this is the use of yoga in today's world, I'll say.
Mm.
And sometimes that can be quite a scary space for people to be in, that space within themselves, because we're not always particularly honest with ourselves.
Mm.
So, you know, you're saying when with foods, for example,
Yeah.
and you're craving, so there shouldn't really be an element of craving.
Right.
But when you've got that connection with self and in the true self, you would want to serve the self in the best possible way, you know.
Yeah.
So you will make the choices which will enhance and energize and
Yeah.
lift, rather than just for that craving. And having that space and time with self can sometimes be a little bit scary, because it means that actually I'm responsible.
Mm.
I'm responsible for the way that I feel. I'm responsible for the way that I think. It's not anybody else's fault. Like, you can't make me angry or, you know, make me upset. I choose to be that. And if you are in that balance and that real connection with self, those things really dissolve, and you are able to glide through all the experiences without the big highs and lows. People say, oh, that's a bit boring, but actually having that steadiness is very, very grounding and very balanced, and you can truly absorb and feel what it is like to live.
Mm. Wow. Well explained. That's right. Now that was interesting when you said, you know, sometimes people can say, oh, that's boring. It brought me back to what you were saying, Dr. Sharma, about, you know, people being busy. I've got to do this and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And I wanted to bring it up about, is there something to do with ego and wanting? You know, sometimes people, you know, it's the ego that wants to make them busy, because it's like, well, if I'm doing something, then, you know, I'm important and I'm achieving things and I'm feeding my ego and I'm tick, and want. And there's something sacred about that. Well, I won't say boring, but that not doing much sometimes. We don't have to do the washing. We don't have to do everything on the checklist, because it's going to be there in half an hour. It's going to be there in an hour. There's going to be even more things to do. Once you do that, there's always something to do. So it's also yoga getting us out of our ego too, you know, the bad ego, because isn't there good ego and not so healthy ego?
Absolutely. As I told you earlier, that yoga is about unbecoming.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So
Unwind.
yeah, and we can apply that concept here. And when we talk about ego is considered as a very negative word, but ego in terms of yoga, it means you, how you exist. That's it. It has nothing more than this attached to the word ego. Yeah. In Sanskrit, the word is aham. Aham means me. Yeah. Me doesn't imply the egoistic touch attached to it. It's just that what I am. That's
Okay.
it. Without any implications, without any further, definitions or reflections. It's just who I am. And most of the people, they don't know that they can ask this question to themselves that who I am, why I am, what to do, what not to do. No? And when we say we are busy, 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 I think many a times we are just keeping ourselves busy because we don't want to ask ourselves these questions. It's one way of staying distracted so that we can again say this to ourselves that, oh, I didn't ask this question because I was busy. And that's a very easy way out. Yes?
Interesting.
And I was looking at some data, and during this social isolation and the lockdowns and all those things, there was 30% reduction of any sort of physical activity in the people. So 30% reduced physical activity can lead to many of the things. If you start thinking about from the very basic that if our physical activity reduced by 30%, that means your digestion and your metabolism will get affected. And if it get affected, that means the whatever food, it will be the best of the best food you can have, but still your body will not be able to process it the way it should process. And if it is not getting processed the way it should get processed, that means we are not getting the nutrients out of it up to the fullest. And then it starts the dominoes effect, and we start getting many of the deficiencies settling in our body. And that's where whole picture starts changing. And in the long run, because there are some moments where you will see those effects in an acute form or very, very soon. But most of the time you will see all the negative effects of these things in the longer run. And that's why now we started coming out of those isolations, lockdowns, restrictions and all. And it will be interesting to see within coming 6 months how all the things are going and how we are behaving, how we are maintaining ourselves. Because as I told you earlier, that yoga is about regulation and moderation. And many a time we do struggle how to regulate our emotions, which usually end up having a fight with the people that we love, which we don't want to fight with. So all those things start getting disturbed, and we start taking things personally because that's what we are programmed to do because of our activities or what you say, the hobbies, or we are just doing these things for so many years in such a manner that it becomes a part of us. It becomes us. Yes. So to break that continuity of becoming, you need some time for yourself. I'll say that many a times you said being lonely or in isolation can be boring. Yes, but I will always say that opposite poles look similar. Yes. So stability and stagnation may look quite similar from the superficial side. Okay? One can be sitting in a stable manner, knowing what is going in my mind and focusing on something productive. Yes. And one person who is in stagnation, or you can say in a depressed state, that person will also look similar if you see superficially, but it's 180-degree apart. Now, one is stable, one is stagnant. So we need to ask ourselves, am I stable or am I stagnant? If you find the right answer and if you need to do something about it, yoga is the tool for you. Because yoga doesn't only work on physical aspect, it do gives you tool to regulate your breathing, and by regulating your breathing, you can do many of the things. Because as we say that what we breathe, we call it prana. Prana means the life force. It's not only the oxygen, it's the life force. And I think I'm pretty sure that we have discussed this in the prior talks, that this is the first sign or first difference between a living being and a non-living being. If somebody is breathing, it's living. If somebody is not breathing, it's not living. Yes. So we need to acknowledge and address the power of breath. That's where pranayama, means regulation of breath, comes in. So yoga gives you some asanas to maintain the flexibility of the body so the body can get rid of the toxins that get collected from day to day and get rid of them, cleanse it on its own, and then regulate our breath to enhance the healing capacity of the body. And when you enhance the healing capacity and you do certain activity which can bring balance between your sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, then you feel more balanced, you feel clarity of thoughts, you feel increased focus, you feel increased concentration, you feel increased productivity. And these are not the things that just I am saying. There are researches out there which have proven time again and again that yes, yoga can help you to increase productivity, to increase focus, to increase concentration, to increase the balance, to increase the happiness quotient. Yes. So again, the message I want to give to our listeners today is that yoga is a friendly tool and one should adopt it in whatever way they can. Some people like doing more physical. That's okay. That's all right. Do more of the physical asanas. That's okay. Once you have reached the peak, then you will ask for something more. Isn't that what we do? I have done something and I have done it to the fullest. Now I need something more. Yes, yoga can give you something more after that. And once you have achieved the second stage, you need something more. Yeah? And slowly progressing like this, once you have done all the physical aspects, then you will say, let me just sit down and do nothing. Doing nothing doesn't mean stagnation again. Yeah? You can just try this thing, and I will request this to our listeners. Try doing this with yourself. Just sit down and try to do nothing. Let's try how long you can sit with your eyes closed and doing nothing. Yes, that will actually tell you, how much your mind is racing, how many thoughts are coming in a single moment given, and how you can regulate those things. Once you started understanding those things, then it will be easier for you to acknowledge, address any of the situation which can be of stress, and then you will address it in the beginning before it starts, and then you can handle it on your own, because stress is inevitable, but it is manageable. You only need to acknowledge this. Stress is inevitable. Yeah. We call, we divide stress into two categories. One is eustress, which we call positive stress. Yeah? I'm sitting here, I might have a little bit of stress in me so that I can perform better. That's good, that's all right. Once the activity is finished, my body will go back to normal. Yeah? To start with, the positive stress will enhance my heartbeat, enhance my blood pressure, dilate my pupils so that I can see more, concentrate more, this and that. Once the activity is finished, body will try to come back to the normal thing. But the point here is that when a eustress or a positive stress, you stay in that stress for a longer period of time, or one activity after another, then it becomes distress, which is the negative aspect of the stress. And it starts playing with your physiology. So that's why people start having high blood sugar levels, high blood pressures, all those things which we usually say these are lifestyle disorders. They, according to the yoga philosophy, everything is connected with how you are managing your stress. Yes?
Interesting.
Absolutely. So if you start looking things in this manner, then you will be able to acknowledge that now is the time for me to take a break. That's okay. Take a break. It could be a 2 minutes break. It could be a 5 minutes break. It could be a 30 minutes break. That's okay. Whatever time you have, just take this time to breathe properly. Take a deep inhalation and just try to inhale, exhale completely. Do this a few times and you will feel the difference. I want to request my listeners again to practice this breathing, complete inhalation and complete exhalation. Just do this and you will feel wonderful after that. You will feel relaxed. You will feel lighter when you are actually breathing properly. Because when stress builds up, the first disturbance it shows is in our breathing. The breathing go haphazard or it goes shallow. If I may ask a question, I want to put it out to our listeners that how many times you actually observe yourself how you're breathing. Yeah, we always say that, oh, my doctor advised me not to eat fats, not to eat dairy, not to do this, not to do that. We can stop all those things, that's okay, but we can't stop breathing. But how many times we acknowledge this thing, that how we are breathing actually. So start acknowledging your breath, because this is the life force. This is what keeping us alive. And if we can acknowledge this life force, that means you are connecting yourself with that life force in that moment, which is a great thing to do.
Perfect.
Wow, that's awesome.
And coming back to that timeline, that just blends in beautifully, because the breath is that amazing tool that we've been given. I mean, it's, yes, life force, but it's a tool that we can tap into, which constantly brings us back into the present moment. So if you are aware of your breath, you are nowhere else but here and now. And that is all that life is.
Can we do a little 30-second or 1 minute breathing, a guided breathing? So someone's saying, well, how do I breathe? Do I just breathe deep and this and that? Can you do a little
Why not?
exercise for the listeners?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yep.
Did you want to go?
I'll be happy to do that.
Yes.
It's a little practice that we've established with a couple of colleagues, that we send out little pause messages to our clients, and with that is basically reminding people to stop, to take a conscious breath, feel their feet on the floor, and then off you go. And even in midstream, and I haven't got time for that, and sometimes you get the message and you're quite annoyed with it because you're sort of, I haven't got time. But if you just have an awareness, take a breath, and then the next moment is completely different. It plays itself out very differently because it takes it out of the mind and into the present moment. It's so, so powerful. And I think how many breaths, Dr. Sharma? About 22,000, 24,000, somewhere like that, breaths a day.
Is that how many we take?
Yeah. So we have lots of opportunities to come back into the present moment. So I would like to invite our beautiful listeners just to take a moment, and wherever you might be, obviously if you're driving, perhaps just listen to the words rather than go through the full practice. So come into a comfortable seated position, and if you're seated on a chair, it's really nice to create some space between your back of the body and the back of the chair. So come slightly forward, and then allow a little bit of space through the spine by extending upwards through the crown of the head. Just create space in the body. Then allow yourself to come down to awareness of the soles of the feet. Allow your feet to spread and connect to the earth beneath. Have awareness of your body being supported by the chair beneath you. And then allow your awareness to come into the flow of your breath, your rhythm, as you feel the breath, the movement of the air drawing up through the nostrils and gently releasing out in through the nostrils, and feel the sensations of the air on the back of the throat, and gently release. And now take a breath through the nostrils, travelling down through the throat and expanding in through the chest. And gently release. And let us take 3 breaths now. Exhale completely and let go. Inhale and expand. Exhale and gently let go and relax. Inhale. Exhale and relax just a little more. Let go. One more breath as you inhale. And exhale and completely let go. Relax. And simply be. And then ever so gently, in your own time, wriggle the toes and the fingers. Take another beautiful inhalation and exhale as you then open your eyes and come back into full awareness of your surrounds. And come into this often. It's a beautiful tool that you can use anytime.
Thank you. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. I wonder if anyone else out there is smiling or wants to laugh. That's sort of how I feel. I feel a little bit relaxed. I want to, yeah, oh, good.
It's also completely changed the energy of the room too, hasn't it?
So you do this at your, if you just want to say where you do it, your classes?
Okay, so we do hold regular yoga classes on 3 times a week up in the hills, up in Blackwood. But we also have our clinic in Norwood or Beulah Park, where we offer yoga therapy classes, so 1-to-1, but also small groups as well, and online meditation that we do on a Tuesday night. So that gives everybody an opportunity to sort of tap into meditation, relaxation for 50 to 60 minutes. You can come in your pajamas and then off you go, ready for bed after we finish. So it's 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night.
Zoom?
Via Zoom, yeah.
That's fantastic. How much is that?
Well, it's $10.
Yes.
So, and half of all the proceeds go to a charity that we select in the month. So sort of supporting the community as well. So our plan is to get 100 people online every week, so that we really start getting a community together of people having that awareness of how to relax. You know, we need to actually almost be taught again how to relax, how to be. Dr. Sharma was talking a little bit about that, those opposites. You know, if we do not know stillness or silence, we don't really understand the opposite either. That sound and movement and activity. You know, so that stillness, activity, silence, sound. So those opposites are so important, but we're always in the sound and we're always in the activity. And we need to relearn what it is like to be silent and what it is like to be still. And through the practice of yoga and the practice of breath, we can align the mind with the body and create not sleep. So sleep is a different form of stillness and relaxation, but it is a conscious awareness of quietening the mind, focusing the mind. So we don't want the mind to stop thinking, because that's its job. You don't want the heart to stop beating. So people think, you know, they say, oh, but I can't stop thinking. It's what you do with the thoughts.
Interesting.
So if the thought comes in, do you entertain it? And do you create a full story around that thought? That's where the issue lies. It's not the thought. So what happens if that thought comes in and you just let it go again? It's gone.
But it's just a thought.
And it's
we
just
don't
a
have to
thought.
attach to it or identify
just a
ourselves with
thought.
it.
Yeah.
You know, people often have that fear. You know, you hear when people diagnosed with different illnesses, I mean, bipolar or anxiety, depression. You know, I think sometimes mainstream medicine doesn't really explain it right, because people can think, oh, I had that bad thought, that means I'm bipolar, or I've got an issue, or this and that. And I think there's a lot of stigma and that maybe misdiagnoses too. I've heard people talk about this. We have to be careful, because okay, everyone has good thoughts and bad thoughts, and some people even say if people knew their thoughts, they would put them in prison, right? You know, you've heard, I mean, that's a bit extreme, but someone said that sort of tongue in cheek, that we're just human. We're going to have a crazy thought, but it's just a thought. You let it go.
Yes.
It's how you deal with it, like you said.
It's what we do with it.
Like what Beatrice said, is that we are surrounded by pairs of opposites. And we do treat or entertain or get indulged in every sort of pairs of opposites. Yes? And like you said, good thoughts or bad thoughts, again, it's a pair of opposite. You know? And we're bound to have it. That's okay. The only thing is what you do with the thought. Are you actually acknowledging it? Are you actually addressing it? Are you actually entertaining it? Or the other easy method is you try just to be an observer and let the thought come and let it go. Let it come, let it go. Don't address it. Yeah? This is a very simple, basic technique of meditation. Yes? So that's why we are trying to discuss those basic techniques here, so that our listeners can relate that yes, this can be a thing for me to give it a try, you know, so they can try it in their home. And whenever they need some specialized support, we are here at East West Ayurveda and Yoga, and we do offer different varieties of yoga therapies. And the principle that we follow is of alternate stimulation and relaxation. Because as I said earlier, most of the times we have too many stimulations throughout the day, but we don't have enough time to actually relax and come back to normal. So slowly, with each passing year, after many years, your body will set itself to a new normal, which is not a normal. Yes? So by using the principle of alternate stimulation and relaxation, we enhance the effect of those stimulations, we enhance the effect of those relaxations, and in the end, we bring our whole system, and it works at a cellular level. You know, we want to bring each and every muscle, each and every cell in our body to that state of balance, that state of normal by using these.
Fantastic. Okay, so how can people find you? If you can just spell it as well.
Yeah, so we're East West
Ayurveda, one word.
Ayurveda and Yoga, and we are on 271 The Parade, and we're on Facebook, so you can look us up, East West Ayurveda, but we've also got the website. And look, we would love to hear from the listeners and provide the service that they are looking for as well. So we're keen to expand more yoga classes. Of course, we also do treatments and health consultations as well. And both Ayurveda and yoga are sister sciences, but so they work hand in hand together, but it's in a holistic sense. So we're looking at all aspects of life as well. So yoga is certainly one very important branch of it, but yoga is not just a practice that you do for an hour once a week. That's great, but that is one aspect of it, which is the asanas or the actual physical aspect of it. But yoga is also a way of living. So the foods that you eat, the way that you eat it, the activities you choose, and the balancing of the mind, you know, it's incorporating everything.
So are we going to do a part 2 of this in 2 weeks? Is that what was arranged?
Yes, we can surely do that. And if I can request you, Bianca, and our lovely listeners, that if we can get some feedback what they want to listen to, or
Yes.
if they have any questions or queries or any special topic that they want some more information about, we are happy to conduct a session according to that. So
Great.
that will be
Thank you.
actually really good, so that we can continue in a manner that our listener will get benefited from these sessions.
That's fantastic. A radio session just for our special listeners. They don't have to go anywhere, they just have to tune in. That's fantastic. That's very kind of you.
Absolutely,
And
and this is the beauty with the PVA FM, and especially thanks to you, so giving us this opportunity to get connected with our community, with our lovely listeners, so that we can share something of importance, something meaningful, and something that can change your life and give you the right perspective, right way to see, and right way to manage yourself anytime at any given moment.
And what's more important than oneself and one's life and managing it correctly?
Yes.
With, I won't say stress-free, but all the things we talked about.
Yes.
Managing stress, having a balanced life.
Absolutely.
And also having that support, because sometimes it's not that easy doing it on your own, and knowing
Exactly.
that you've got a supportive community, and we are here in service. And the beauty is as well that it can be done remotely.
Exactly.
You know, so we don't have to be in the same space. So there's so many ways that we can reach out.
Yeah,
But
good
yeah,
that you
I
said
think
that.
that's great, Dr. Sharma. That we would love some questions for people to come in and say, you know, or to write to you and to say,
Excellent.
let's
I like
let's
that.
find out more about this or that. That'd be great.
That's exciting. Very nice. Thank you so much both for coming in. So who's back in a fortnight? Is it Lee and Dr.
So
Sharma?
it'll be Lee and Dr. Sharma in a fortnight.
and
It'll
then
be the three girls next
next
week.
week.
So Tamika, Lee and myself, and then Dr. Sharma and Lee, and then I think
We've got a few different topics to
Yeah,
cover.
we're so
I know
excited.
listeners were very excited last time you came in with your, is it your niece?
yes.
And she's fantastic, Tamika, as well.
Yeah, because we've got a couple of wonderful workshops coming up as well.
Yeah, actually, can we just do them quickly? I just want to see. Yeah,
Yep.
if we've got like 30
So
seconds.
at Eastwood Community Centre, we're holding some workshops discussing about how people can really cleanse and heal and empower people to start turning things around so that their health improves, and that they come, you know, back in ownership of their own health and well-being. So there's some really, really wonderful information that we've got to share with people. A fantastic lunch and a little bit of relaxation, and using our yoga and meditation, and you don't need any prior experience. So our first session is on the 21st of May, which is a Saturday from 12 till 4, and then on the 29th of May, which is on a Sunday, the following Sunday, and then the last one of our series of 3 is on the 4th of June. Can you believe it? We're saying June,
I know.
which is another Saturday. And look, you can do one session on its own or come to all 3, and there are sort of, you know, some discounts as well if you bring a friend, for example. But also we've got a little promo code for PBA FM. So if you go onto your onto Eventbrite, and then you can pop in your promo code to get some discount as well.
Promo code is
PBA FM.
excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
And message us if you've got any questions.
Yes.
Lovely listeners, once
Thank
again.
you everybody on Facebook and everybody, the listeners. Wonderful. Thanks so much for your time, Bianca.
Thank you
Wonderful.
both.
Thank you very
Very
much,
much.
Bianca, and the
Thank
whole
you.
team of PBFM. We are really grateful to be here again, and we love to come here again and again.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
great
fabulous
opportunity.
station. It really
Yeah.
is a great
Yeah.
team of people too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's an expedition into the
Nice.
world of progressive
Thank
rock
you.
from around
Thank
the world
you.
and from right here
That's so
in
good.
Australia.
Always a good session.
Oh, it's always very good, and you lead it always so beautifully.
So if you want to say goodbye here, and if there's anything else you missed to say on radio, we can say it here, because I'll be publishing that soon.
Okay, I think most was covered, but look, we would love to hear from our listeners and followers. and send us a message if you've got any questions or if you'd like to know more information. We have multiple services available, and all for the good health of the community, and in particular the good health of you as you, the individual. So this is where it needs to start, with self, and then the rest will flow from there. So take that first step, and we are here to help and guide in any way that you need.
Thank you.
Fantastic.